How long will it take us to get to Great Britain?
A week or so, depending on the weather. Listen, I have an old colleague in Scotland, Lord Ronald, who might be able to help us. He's a scientist, an expert in jewels and minerals. If anyone knows why Goldchef stole the Sleepless Star, or what his next move might be, it'll be Lord Ronald.
Then we should go see him.
Good. Then let's find a ship that will take us out on the next tide.
Foul weather kept Percy and Yellowfeather at sea for 12 days. With each passing hour, the Sleepless Star seemed to slip farther from their grasp. When they finally arrived on the Isle of Donan in Scotland, Lord Ronald welcomed them warmly into his manor.
Thanks again for the excellent meal, Lord Ronald. Quite a feast. Last time we met, I recall you were railing against the scientific community for being close-minded on the subject of jewels. You seem much more at peace.
Ah, Percy, my boy. Yes, it turns out there is life outside of academia after all. But please, my problems are mere trifles. What's this I hear about your village being ransacked, Yellowfeather?
All true, I'm afraid.
Do you know this man, Anton Golchev?
Golchev? You think he's involved?
No question about it. He came with a band of armed thugs and tore apart Yellowfeather's village. They made off down the Hudson River with the Sleepless Star.
The Sleepless Star? The Algonquin jewel?
Why do you suppose he'd be interested in the Sleepless Star, Malcolm?
I don't know. I can't imagine. It was my understanding he'd changed his ways and turned his attention to political matters back in his native Estonia. You must excuse me. I just recalled that I left one of my experiments unattended.
I'd love to see what you're working on, Malcolm.
Oh, yes, and I'm quite anxious to show it, Percy, my boy. But not just yet, if you don't mind. Please, do not let my absent-mindedness spoil the evening. Make yourselves at home. I'll see you both in the morning.
Your friend knows more about Golchev, something that he does not want to tell us.
I trust Lord Ronald, but I have to agree, it seems like he's hiding something. And there's one way to find out. Let's hunt him down and get some answers. That's odd. How could Lord Ronald have disappeared so quickly? Hello? Malcolm? Hello?
Your friend has many books and papers. I wonder if this room could tell us his secret. What he knows about Anton Golchev.
I don't know, Yellowfeather.
He told us to make ourselves at home. In my home, I do as I please.
I don't recall Lord Ronald being so secretive.
Perhaps he has changed. Or maybe you did not know him as well as you thought.
Let's not jump to conclusions. Look, there's a door at the other end of the hall. Hello? Lord Ronald?
There, on the wall. The Sleepless Star.
This diagram, it shows the Sleepless Star and two other jewels interacting somehow. It makes no sense.
Tell me, do you still trust your friend?
Let's just search the room and see what else we can find. I'm sure there's an explanation.
box hidden under the floor.
Very curious. Let's bring it out here, where we can get a look at it.
It is a journal of his work?
Yes, I think so. But it's written in some kind of code. I may be able to decipher this. Give me a minute.
Do you understand the message?
Not yet. Let's see if we can figure out the rest of it. Lord Ronald thinks he can create Maxwell's demon.
Maxwell's demon?
It's a scientific theory that a force of unstoppable energy is possible. Lord Ronald thinks the Sleepless Star and the other 2 jewels in the diagram are the answer. He must be mad to propose such an experiment. If he can really create such a force, he'll be putting the lives of everyone on this island at great risk. We need to identify the other 2 jewels in the diagram and find out how close he is to testing his theory. We may already be too late.
He cannot be far away. Then let us find Lord Ronald at once.
Let's head to the upper floors. Malcolm's got to be here somewhere.
Listen, there are horses on the road outside.
It's probably just villagers. Even so, let's hurry.
That door looks like it was made to guard secrets. Can you unlock it?
No, not without the combination, or the right tools. Besides, it seems a bit premature to be breaking into unlocked vaults, don't you think? Aha, right. There are lives at risk, after all.
Why would Lord Ronald go to such effort to hide papers with no writing?
He wouldn't. Invisible ink is my guess. Let's see what happens when we apply a little heat. after a jewel called the Cloud Crystal. They think it's hidden in some Byzantine ruins in Slovakia. There's some crude cartography here, latitude and longitude.
If Golchev goes there after the Cloud Crystal, then we must go there too.
Yes, but first I think Lord Ronald owes us an explanation.
Listen, someone is coming. Perhaps it is Lord Ronald.
Halt!
Come on, run! it done back there?
We made too much noise. More soldiers coming.
Percy? Yellowfeather?
You helped Golchev steal the Sleepless Star.
No, I never meant for any of this to happen. Anyhow, there's no time to explain. Golchev's men have blocked all the exits. But there's a trapdoor at the top of the tower stairs. You must trust me. Go!
Why should we trust you? You are a thief and a liar.
Yellowfeather, there's no time. Come on!
I swear, Percy, this is not what it seems. You'll see. You'll soon see what I have discovered.
There's the trapdoor Lord Ronald told us about. No tomahawk this time. We need to keep quiet, or they'll know we're up here. We should be safe from the soldiers if we stay here.
You can wait here if you wish.
Right. Or we could simply climb down that dangerously frail-looking vine. We won't get far on foot. A couple of horses would do quite nicely.
I still have flint and steel.
Distract them with a fire? I do like the way you think.
Whoa! Stop! Thieves! They're taking the horses!